What job exists because we are stupid? I had a temp job in a posh department store a few years ago. The escalator going down from floor 2 to floor 1 had to be taken out to be replaced, which took a month. Despite the many notices and the signs directing people to the lift stairs, a member of staff had to stand at the top of the closed escalator just to direct the public to the lifts and stairs. It broke people's brains, and it was worrying to see how many tried to get past the barriers, or got pissed and shouty because there was no escalator. Like, holy shit, how did people cope before moving stairs were invented? I've had to close roadways down due to bad accidents. The amount of people who attempt to drive over road flares and pass patrol cars with their lights on is astounding. People will straight up drive into open trenches and wet concrete during construction. Most of the time they just had an argument with the flagger that ended something like, "I can't drive through here. Watch me." People don't realize how much damage wet concrete does. I used to work in, and one of my first days, and Cass covered, even though he obviously could have avoided this entirely. For future reference, what should you do immediately after your car is covered in wet concrete? Just hose it off. Yes, that would be preferable to doing nothing. A whole car wash might be better, but a hose will probably do. Met a guy once, his job was putting dirt on potatoes. Somebody along the supply chain washed them pretty well by the time they got to the grocery. People didn't trust the clean potatoes. So one guy had to put dirt back on them to make them more authentic. #X200B edit, wow, a silver. My first. Thank you. Somewhat similar, continuously variable transmissions, CVTs, are becoming more and more common in modern cars. CVTs have a virtually infinite number of gear ratios compared to the normal 5 to 7 speed automatics. In a normal automatic you can feel the gears shift, but with a CVT there are no shifts to feel as it smoothly moves between ratios. People complain that they think something is wrong when they notice there are no shifts. Because of this, engineers program the CVT to only use several specific ratios to recreate the feeling of the shift, defeating the purpose of the CVT. Which is utterly infuriating for people who actually own CVT cars. Well, for me. I could be smoothly accelerating, but instead I have a simulation of a crappy automatic transmission because someone thinks that cars will sell better if they are jerky. If I could change the firmware to fix the idiotic fake shift points, I would. Honestly, that should at least be configurable in a workshop, if not by the end user. In some CVT cars they give you the full range of the CVT and then paddle shifters for folks who care about shit like that. Works well in my Subaru, especially when up in the mountains. Manual shifting is quite preferable to be able to engine brake control the car a bit better. Edit, I drive an Outback, sorry for all the other Subaru folks frustrated with their transmissions. Frown. My husband is a labor and employment attorney for a massive company and gives monthly seminars to everyone there to not send dick pics, sexually harass one another. And like clockwork, someone in that room does it within a couple weeks. Alright guys, it's me again. Nothing changed since last week. Your dick should stay in your pants. Nobody wants to see it. That includes texts, Snapchat, Instagram, email, regular mail, and I can't believe I have to say this, but it's a new week, a fax isn't cool either. Just because I didn't mention it doesn't mean it's okay. Oh shit, that's right, I can fax Deborah a dick pic, good idea. She rejected me when I sent her a dick pic over text, work email, personal email, and that one time I took a picture with an old Polaroid and sent it to her home address. But maybe if I fax her one it'll work. Good idea, boss. On crowded nights, Disney Springs has employees working at crosswalks at the intersections from the overflow parking lots to tell people when they can cross. They're normal intersections that have lights telling you when you can cross. People just don't acknowledge them and will try to run across oncoming traffic. Let's make a new ride, we'll call it Disney Springs, Natural Selection Night. The companies that get you out of timeshares. The worst part is that most of those are absolute scams too. Edit, didn't expect this to get as many responses as it did. Broad answer to questions. Comments, timeshares are not scams for the most part. It's just a very different way of travel and doesn't work for everyone. Not all resales are bad. It just happens to be another industry that has more than its fair share of scammers. Be extremely cautious with resale and do your homework. Source, worked in operations management for timeshare companies for about a decade. I'm picturing the same guy that sold the timeshare slapping on a fake mustache and handing you his get out of your timeshare business card. I'm a self-serve gas station attendant. Honestly, the only reason I'm here is to slap the emergency stop button if someone starts pumping gas outside their cargo can. Oh, and shut off the pumps when I leave. Did you ever have to tell a motorcycle gang member, a pagan in my case, legendary for their violence, that he could not smoke while pumping gas? I did. I thought long and hard about the wisdom of that, and came to the conclusion that next time, I was going to grab a bag of popcorn and watch the show from my booth in complete safety smile. No, but I did have to tell a motorcycle gang I can't just start the pumps if they leave their credit debit cards with me. They were pissed off about telling me a dollar amount or paying at the pump. I also have to lie about the double pane glass being bulletproof constantly. Ah, luxury. They cannot come in where you work. When I did that job, they could come on in. I had one gang member come in, pour himself a cup of coffee, put the lid on, face me with arm extended and then turn it upside down to make sure the lid stayed on. I'm not sure what would have happened if the lid came off, but I expect it would have been blamed on me. Those guys literally think irrationality and being unreasonable is a lifestyle and take great pride in it, which made their visits always interesting. I had one gang member come in, pour himself a cup of coffee, put the lid on, face me with arm extended and then turn it upside down to make sure the lid stayed on. Are you sure that you weren't accidentally at a Dairy Queen drive-thru? By coffee, I mean ice cream. By gas station, I mean Dairy Queen. By gangster, I mean little kid. If the lid had come off, basically would get the same result. I have a side gig doing data entry. I earn $25 US or copying and pasting stuff from a web page into an Excel spreadsheet, while doing some light formatting. Edit, Holy Karma Batman. To answer a few repeat questions, I know the employer personally, which led to me picking up this work. It's not a lot of hours a week, but the extra money is definitely useful. It's difficult finding this kind of work. You won't find it looking for job ads. You need to approach companies that you feel would have a need for this kind of service. You could potentially get Excel to do that automatically. This is how you code yourself out of a job. If you do this, be careful to never let anyone know, and if they get suspicious, lie your goddamn ass off. Or take the opposite route, publicize your creation, put it on your resume, and use it to take the job of the dumb mother ducker before you who never thought to do it. Edit, I regret everything, fuck my inbox. Tier 1 at support. Did you try turning it off and on again? Sure you did. Could you blow into the cable to make sure there is no dust in the connect? Oh, the cable was loose? How surprising. Have a good day. Did you try turning it off and on again? Oh, this was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. My laptop is at home. I'm currently driving my car. I literally just got off the phone with a lady asking if one of our systems was down. She couldn't test it on her end for me because she was driving. It isn't down. All the jobs at MLM companies. Traffic police in Baltimore. I was there this summer and the gridlock was atrocious. People push their way into the intersection, the light turns red, and they are stuck there until the light is about to turn red in the opposite direction, at which point those people push their way into the intersection and the cycle perpetuates. During rush hour, they have police standing in the intersections not to direct traffic, though, simply to hold their hand up when the light turns red so that people don't push their way into the intersection. Basically, a human has to stand in traffic for hours just to tell the drivers what the lights mean. It was unbelievable. Psychic detectives, because why trust a professional detective to be intuitive? Come on, son. You know that's right. At my university we have a person whose job is to stand by the garbage area and make sure people dispose of their trash appropriately. My school had a massive issue with recycling getting contaminated. It got so bad at one point that the company refused to take their recycling for a few months. They decided to redesign all the bins to make it super clear what you can and can't recycle, and the recycling bins are always next to a trash can so it's never more work to recycle. People still throw food and trash in the recycling bins and vice versa. Most people can't be asked to read, let alone to care. The amount times I've seen people walk up to doors with a sign that says closed or back in 10 and they'll rattle the door for a couple minutes is astounding. Source, worked at a convenience store and lived by one.